and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Holcomb.
Good evening.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Item number 3, public comments. Is there any public comment?
If I may, Mr. Selectman, members of the Board of Selectmen, my name for the record is Fred Stanek, and I would just like to take a few moments to add some comments with regard to the dedication of the Fishway and Park in memory and honor of Paul Falk Sr. As you know, I was appointed special counsel on December 7, 2000 by the Board of Selectmen to a term to expire when the project is complete and represent the town of Seymour with regard to the fish bypass and park. And I want to just compliment the Board of Selectmen and its predecessors, the Board of Selectmen as an institution, and the first selectman, First Selectman Scott Barton, Bob Kuskolowski, Paul Roy, and yourself, Mr. Miller, for the great cooperation that I saw among political parties in our town as there was transition between administrations and also among the 3 levels of government. I think this project really showed how 3 levels of our government could work cooperatively, collaboratively, and build a terrific project that's wonderful for the environment and for the community and for our entire country, for that matter, because of the benefits that this project is going to yield to the ecology as well as to the economy. And I think our members of Congress should take a lesson as to what happened here, because everybody works so cooperatively. And this project, as I said, for many people, is the last link in the restoration of the Northern River to environmentally sound, ecological sound riverway and waterway. And this project also is going to yield, as Mr. Miller mentioned at the dedication, a lot of economic benefits for the town and the area. But also, we as a town benefited greatly, not only that we have the project here, but we also were able to purchase the parcel of land, which is now a parking lot, next to 7 Wakely Street, that was supposed to be the skateboard park at one time. That was purchased at a cost of $80,000 back in 2001. And the state reimbursed the town for that money. And of course, the skate park was a great byproduct of this project that benefits a lot of young people in our town who enjoy that form of recreation. But once again, I just want to thank all of you, and I think that this is a wonderful project. And we, as a community, should stand proud, not only to have this project in our community, but also the way we conducted ourselves and were able to work together and with the state and local governments. Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanek. You are officially discharged. We'll try to find another 14-year project for you.
Well, it's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, Fred.
He wasn't nearly as gray then.
No.
Oh, my God.
That was Paul that said that. I didn't think it was funny at all.
It wasn't as
You know,
gray
sometimes I
as
got to get your
gray.
shots in. You know.
You weren't nearly as gray then.
That's true. Is there any other public comment? Is there any other public comment? Hearing no other public comment, we'll move on to item number 4. Approve minutes from the October 21st, 2014 regular meeting. Can I have a motion to do so? Motion
Second.
by Al, second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, item number 5, approve minutes from the October 21st, 2014 special meeting. Can I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, second by Paul. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, item number 6, First Selectmen's report. Union contract negotiations are ongoing. Warren is here tonight with us and will provide an update during executive session on our current status. Weekly review of the 2014-2015 budget is ongoing. On the income side, we remain in line with projections. On the expenditure side, we are showing 2 areas of potential concern, as I have previously mentioned: retiree health benefits and town building maintenance. We'll continue to monitor these accounts and will provide updates as the year goes on. All other accounts are trending as projected. I've started the process for the 2015-2016 budget. I expect to have my recommendations to departments, boards, and commissions by late November. I'll be recommending several changes to the overall budget to continue to streamline our operational process. Road improvement work on Patton Ave, Halsey Street, and J Lane is almost complete. Driveway aprons are being finished over the next few days. Once that is done, they will work on backfilling the curb lines and moving mailboxes as needed. I expect all this work to be completed in the next week or so. The new garbage systems with Winters Brothers began this week. There have been a few glitches that we've been working through, I should say, but all in all, the transition has gone very well. We're in the process now of changing over the containers for those who wanted a smaller 64-gallon. Rory is in daily contact with Winters Brothers to make sure any issues are addressed ASAP. Cleanup at the Seymour Lumber site continues. They are expected to be done with final site cleanup by sometime next week. Met with Mike Corbel to finalize the potential design for the upgrades to the parking lot next to the Strand Theater. The changes should increase parking from 31 spaces to 46 spaces. I'll provide more information on this later in the meeting. Walk downtown Seymour with Bill Jarvis to discuss the potential of adding Christmas lights. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to do anything new this year. We did discuss the new lighting that will be going through with the Main Street Investment Fund grant. Based on that, we should have the potential for Christmas lighting next year. I had the honor of attending the Seymour High School Sports Hall of Fame dinner. This was the second year of induction. I'd like to personally congratulate each of the new members and welcome them to this very special group. I'd like to welcome Robin Marquito and her new business, The Grateful Dog, to downtown Seymour. I had the pleasure of attending her grand opening event. I was able to bring my dog Buddy along as well, and he enjoyed several of the treats that were available. I look forward to bringing him back for grooming in the next few weeks. Finally, it was an honor to be a part of the grand opening ceremony of the new Paul Pollock Senior Fish Bypass and Park at Tinnew Dam. This park should be a tremendous draw to our downtown area, and I look forward to it being in full operation by the end of the month. So with that closes my first selectmen's report. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to add to the agenda discussion and possible action of the Board of Selectmen acting in lieu of special town meeting regarding financing for the 2014-2015 capital plan.
So moved.
Motion by Nicole.
Second.
Second by Karen. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, discussion and possible action of the Board of Selectmen acting in lieu of special town meeting regarding financing for the 2014-2015 capital plan. Okay, this is just to take action from the special meeting. So at this point then, I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution presented by Town Clerk Susan DeBarber during the special town meeting as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Nicole,
Second.
second by Karen. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, discussion and take possible action on 2015 meeting schedule. That is the meeting schedule in front of them. There is one. There's 2 typos on here. One second.
Oh, yeah, got April 7th twice.
April 7th twice
May
and
5th.
May 5th twice.
Yeah.
All right, so it should be May 5th and May 19th. And obviously remove that April 7th,
Can we just get a
2015.
revised one, Kurt?
Yes,
That'd be great.
we'll forward that out tomorrow in the morning.
I won't forget.
Oh, yeah, we'll get updated ones.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, we have the 2 Wednesday meetings. One will be Wednesday, November 4th, which again will be the day after Election Day, and Wednesday, December 16th. We generally move that meeting because Great Hill holds their holiday party that night. So could I have a motion to accept the 2015 Board of Selectmen regular meeting schedule with the 2 corrections that I mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Al. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is item number 8, discussion and take possible action on proposed changes to Strand Theater parking lot. In your packet, you should have some information from Mike Horrible. With the strain we have in parking downtown, we've been looking for ways to increase parking. So I asked Mike Horrible if he would be willing to help redesign the Strand Theater parking lot to see if it would be possible to increase spaces. Mike came up with 5 different options. The option that you see on page 2 of your packets is the option that I'd like to go with, assuming that we are all on board. This configuration will essentially take out the center island that is there with the trees, and will increase parking from 31 spaces to 46 spaces. So we'll pick up 15 spaces. One of the things that we will need to do is we will need to move the telephone pole on Main Street. Because where we will move the driveway to is right in the middle of where that pole is. I've already reached out to Mark Massaro of CLMP and John O'Toole about the possibility of moving that pole. They will be getting back to me, I assume, in the next couple weeks to let us know if that is possible. But assuming that is the case, and assuming that this board is comfortable with this idea, this thought process, what I'd like to do is take the next step and move forward with at least pricing this out to get an idea as to what this would cost. Vast majority of the work will be done by Public Works, so most of the expenses will be for materials. There could potentially be a cost in moving the telephone pole, but I think the benefit of increasing the parking in this lot by 50% is certainly worthwhile. There is some things we'll need to work out with the Knights as well, because some of the parking spaces are on Knights' property. But they are, we've had an initial conversation with them. They are very excited about the potential of increased parking in that lot, because they feel that would certainly benefit them. So they are comfortable with what they've seen. So with that, I'll just leave that, try to answer any questions that you may have. Any concerns, any issues?
I have a couple questions. First of all, I'm not opposed to this at all. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that I mentioned when I was elected 3 years ago was, why don't we just build a parking garage there?
Mhm.
And at that time, and I can't remember who told me this, I was told that that was state property, that wasn't our property. So I just want to say, I've been looking at this for a long time. But secondly, I don't remember this board talking about this, and did Mike do this pro bono?
No.
Or, okay.
No.
All right. I'm thrilled with the suggestion. I just was sort of surprised to see this without a discussion. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember a discussion.
We never discussed this.
Okay.
That's why I'm bringing this to you now. I want to see if it was even possible to increase parking there.
So you're not even looking for a vote tonight? This is just something to inform us as to
Yes.
what the, okay.
I wanted to make sure that everybody was comfortable with this. If everyone
Yeah.
was, then I'm going to go through the process of getting prices and things like that, and then I'll come back to you with where that stands, what the cost would be, and things like that.
Now,
But I didn't want to introduce something that I wasn't sure if could actually happen.
okay. Now, if there is an expense, extraordinary or not, with moving of the utility pole, where are we going to get that money?
Right now, I'm projecting that this will come out of LoSiP, the cost
Okay.
of this. Yeah.
Okay.
We've earmarked about $15,000 in LoSiP
Mhm.
for this. I mean, I haven't asked for it yet, so it's just simply earmarked in there for that.
Okay.
I'm hoping that CLMP will pay for the moving of the telephone pole. They're redoing telephone poles. They did it on Lower Main Street down by Zoyce and down by Mike's office. This pole is not scheduled to be there, but we're trying to encourage them to include this pole.
Didn't we have a problem with them, with the Henny Penny situation?
Not with CLMP.
Oh, okay.
Not with CLMP, no. That was the state at that point, DOT,
Okay.
that had the problem.
Okay, then I'm good.
again, this is more informational to make sure
It
everybody's
sounds like a
comfortable.
great idea, Kurt. We've had issues downtown with parking forever.
Right.
It's always been an issue. I'm glad you've been proactive and taking a look at it. First I've heard of it, and it sounds good.
Yeah.
So
Again, to what Karen says, is there any truth to the fact that the state has jurisdiction
Yeah,
over
what's
this
the,
lot?
what's the decision there?
Mike did not indicate that to me at all.
I wish I could remember who told me that.
So the only thing that he had mentioned was, and
I mean, I know they use it for the commuter lot, for the trains.
if you hold it upside down, this back one. So that, essentially the spaces that run, which would run from Main Street to Tony's Diner,
Mhm.
half of those are on property owned by the Knights of Columbus. So, Mike, and this is hard to see, but there's a line in there that dictates that. But we did reach out to the Knights, particularly to John Fanato, who is their property manager, and they're quite excited and are willing to help out any way they can to get this project through, because this will absolutely benefit them
Sure.
as well, the extra 15 spots. So, but Karen, I can look into that a little bit more and get an answer for you. So,
Okay.
or can you just make a note to reach out to Mike? That's it?
There's gotta be a title somewhere. Yeah, the assessors.
Commuters use that lot, so.
Excuse me?
Do commuters use that lot
Mhm.
exclusively?
I'd have to confirm with Pat.
And don't you need a
Um,
permit?
You have to have
You-
a permit
you-
from the
Permit.
police department.
You need a
Right.
permit, but that's
But that's
only
the only
before
one.
10:30. After 10:30, I believe anyone can park
Yeah,
there.
once there's, the commuters are gone,
Yeah.
yeah.
10:30 in the
There's
morning.
spaces.
10:30 morning.
And that's the only spot commuters can park?
They can park there, they can park
Down by Trestle, too.
down by Trestle, they can park over here. Those are really.
With their permit?
Yeah.
How many commuters are there usually, not to go off too much of a bird walk? What's your estimate of how many folks commute and use that?
On a
Use
daily
those parking
basis,
spaces? Yeah, just roughly
25 maybe,
25.
30? I don't
Yeah.
think it's many.
I
On a
think it was
consistent,
many.
on a
I think-
consistent basis.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think people use,
How many
I mean,
total
take the
spots are there
train.
now?
right,
go
because
downtown.
I see it in the morning, when I go out for my walk in the morning, I see at the 6:08 train, there's probably about a dozen people to get on. And that's the one that goes all the way down to Stanford, so there's,
Oh,
and then at the 7:03, you probably got another 8 or 10. But thing is, most of those are individual cars, too.
Yeah.
Right,
folks.
right.
Yeah.
you know,
right,
That they leave their cars over there, so
Right.
they're taking up spots over there, 15 or to
for a
20.
good part of the day,
Yeah,
most of it. Yeah.
How many spots are in there now?
31.
yeah, so they're probably taking
Be
20 to
double.
25 spots.
It'll go 46, so 50%.
50%.
But again, I don't think they make, one of the spots had a dumpster in it, and another one had a dumpster in it. So
Mhm.
we've moved those, as we know. People do park kind of crazy too. They don't park in the spaces, they
Well,
park
we need to
along
have
the
somebody
outline.
reinforce that.
Yeah,
You know,
So.
need to reinforce the right behavior.
yes.
Couple tickets on there, they'll park between the damn lines next time.
And that's not a problem for Pat, as we all know. So, but assuming everybody's comfortable, what I'll do is I'll start to take the next steps, and then I'll be back in front of you. This is a project that, if all goes well, we find the money and everything, this would be a springtime project. But I want to have the money in place, all the approvals, so as soon as we are able to, Public Works can get started on all the work that's necessary.
I'm sorry if you said how long it would take, I missed it. How long did you say it would be?
About a week,
That's it?
yeah, about a week is what they're estimating.
Including the
I'd like
pole?
to see a parking garage.
Well, no, the pole would be moved in advance, so. I'd love to see a parking garage too, but I don't know if that's unfortunately
It's
feasible.
about-
But again, this would not,
It
I
would
don't think
block
this
so
would
much.
hinder us from getting a parking garage down the road. If
Right,
that would be the
right.
thing. Again, because this is some simple work we're gonna do. Again, the patching that needs to be done is, as you see in Mike's notice, or information in the beginning, they're gonna patch just the areas that they rip up, and then they're going to put a driveway seal essentially on top of it, so it's all the same color, so it looks nice, and then they'll reline it. So at least it'll have
How
some.
about,
uniformity.
down in the corners down toward Route 67, there seems to be a little bit of a drainage issue there.
They'll work on
That'll
that.
be addressed
Yep.
as well, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
And the other thing is, you notice, there will be trees removed. So obviously, we have to take the middle trees out.
Yeah.
So,
Had one removed the other day.
yeah, all by itself. So, okay, so I'll get back to everyone with information in the next couple weeks. If everybody's comfortable. If anybody has any additional questions or comments, just let me know. As I work through this, and I'll keep you updated on that. Okay, item number 9, discussion, take possible action on sidewalk reimbursement for 19 Falcon Drive. In your packets, you have a letter to the Seymour Board of Selectmen, to whom it may concern. I was asked by the Office of Operations to provide this letter as a request for the 1/3 reimbursement of expenses for sidewalk replacement in front of our home at the above address. 18 concrete sections were badly cracked, sinking in some areas and needed repair. Many people walk in this area and the repairs are necessary in order to avoid any accidents. Enclosed, please find a copy of the estimate and paid bill. If you have further questions, please feel to contact us. Signed, Joe and Lauren Vicadamo. Okay. So again, we see we have the estimate of repair work and the paid amount. And that amount is $4,650.
Okay, so this work was already done.
This work has been completed.
Again, we come back to that, we're supposed to be notified ahead of time.
Correct. I
I
think
mean,
what
I don't want to
happened,
discourage people from doing this, believe me, but,
I think the problem is people find out about it after the fact. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to find my calculator.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue.
yeah, I understand. I mean, most people aren't aware of it, what they, but,
But that's the tough thing. Do we draw the line and say, no, you didn't follow the full process, and then potentially discourage people, or?
No, you know.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I know.
It is.
I'm with
It
you.
really is.
Yeah. So, I'm for reimbursing them
too.
the 1/3.
Me too.
But again, that's something we all need to decide together.
Maybe something also, whoever ends up speaking to the residents about the reimbursement, whether it's Rory or Dee, just remind them if they're reminding other neighbors or residents, to let us know beforehand. So maybe eventually the word will get out to say, oh, you can get yours reimbursed, but you have to tell town hall first.
yeah, because
So
we
eventually-
you could get a ton of people doing
Right.
this all at once and then really be hurting,
Yeah, that would be.
potentially. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, I'm not against reimbursing them either,
Right.
because I think it's a good thing to take care of these things.
To avoid, to what you said, Paul, getting too many at one time, can we limit it to like so many a month?
Yeah.
So many requests a month, so like in 1 month, we don't get 10 requests?
I don't know.
I don't think it would really happen, but,
How many requests do you get a month, bro?
We get.
We've only had,
Yeah.
we've only had a
We
few
get
total.
we get 4 or
Since
5 a year.
First
We get 4 or
Avenue,
5 a
right?
year.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
saying,
Do First
Not that it's that
Avenue?
many,
4
but
or
just,
5 a
you
year.
know, the potential is there, that's for sure.
you never know.
Well, I mean, people too have to be willing to come up with $4,000 or $5,000 to fix their sidewalk. A lot of
And
people aren't eager to do that.
the other thing is, I mean, did they get a competitive bid? Or did they
Yep, yeah,
just
no
go with the
idea,
first?
Karen, that was I was gonna make that point.
This is the only
It's-
one
it's
that
three
we
of 'em.
see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I mean, I just had a driveway put in and you won't believe what that cost.
Yeah, I mean, the prices do seem
I mean,
in line with,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what most people do their homework to get at least a couple prices for their own benefit,
right.
Yeah,
not necessarily for ours.
It would help.
Again, good point, they are paying 2/3 of this cost, so.
And these are knowledgeable people. I know them.
Yeah, it's a good family, so. Okay, so if we were to move this forward, the town of Seymour would be reimbursing them $1,550. So what is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion that we reimburse the dictameter.
Second.
So a motion is made by Paul and a second by Nicole. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Roy, please make arrangements to have their check. Okay. Item number 10, discussion and take possible action regarding community services department structure and job descriptions. Okay. As I presented to you about a month ago, maybe it was 6 weeks, with the retirement of Jack Ahern, I wanted to make some changes to how things are run down at the community center. We had some general conversation. Everybody seemed to be on the same page, and I had showed you a structure, or at least given you an idea of what I was thinking. I've had some general conversations with the union nothing official, just to make sure that they would be on board with this. Warren and I will continue through this process, assuming this board is comfortable with it. The first thing I'd like everybody to look at is the current structure little chart. As you can see now, we have a recreation director. Reporting to the recreation director is an assistant recreation director. The elderly service director has a clerical person, and then there's also the municipal agent and the bus driver. And then on the custodial side, we have a head custodian and 2 assistant custodians. Those custodians are all assigned to different buildings. So we currently have 3 full-time positions, 3 part-time positions, and 1 stipend position. Total salary cost, and this was prior to this year, any changes with contracts or anything, $213,677.
Kurt,
Mm-hmm.
the salary for Roger doesn't make sense. If guys below him are getting paid less,
Oh, that's 53. 53.
okay. Or close anyway, yeah.
Yeah, 53. Yeah, so it's just a that.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so if everybody can go to the
Beat me by 2
proposed
seconds.
structure, maybe we're getting a good deal, Paul, you ruined it.
I know.
It didn't add up to the 213 either, so I,
Okay, so we had talked about kind of taking away the silo mentality that we have, and having this work more jointly. So the first thing we have on the top will be the Director of Community Services. And you see I put an amount in there just to give us an idea of what a salary could potentially be. That would need to be finally discussed with the union. But as you can see, that would be a full-time position, and it would be a member of the Administrators Union.
Which
Work-
person, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
That's the Director of Community Service.
Yep.
Reporting to that person, number 1, will be a custodian. So we will take a custodian and move them from, and place them directly on the reporting structure of the person who is responsible for that building. The Director of Community Services, one of their responsibilities will be, and we'll get to the job description in a minute, will be the overall operation of the community center. With that being the case, I think it's extremely important that we assign a custodial staff directly to them to maintain that building. One of the things you'll notice, if we look to the left under custodian, during the winter hours, by contract, a custodian should be in that building from 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. and then the rest of the year from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So one of the things that we will ask for with this proposed structure is that that is returned to. I think with the amount of bitty basketball teams and players that we have going on, I think it's extremely important that we have a custodian on staff to address any issues that may arise
Absolutely.
in that building. So, reporting also to that Director of Community Services will be a recreation program manager and an elderly services program manager. The elderly services program manager is the current director of elderly services, so it will be a title change to her, and there will be some changes to her job description. Everything else will stay the same. It will remain a full-time position reporting to the Administrators Union, or as a member of the Administrators Union, I should say. The Recreation Program Manager, that will be a change from the Assistant Recreation Director's position. It will remain a part-time position. It will be a member of the Clerical Union. Big difference you will see is the Assistant Recreation Director is currently paid $17.50 an hour. That will not be able to continue. That position would be increased to Class 1, Step 1, which is currently $22.91 an hour. So with the 25 hours a week, the projected salary would be $29,783, which is an increase of $2,783. Working for all three would be the Community Services Assistant, which would be a secretarial position, which would be replacing the clerical position that worked just for the Elderly Services Director. Again, by union contract, that would be a part-time position in the clerk's union. It would be $19.50, it would be 19 and a half hours at a rate of $16.31 an hour for 52 hours for $16,600, which is currently budgeted. Also continuing to work with the Elderly Services Manager, and you see the offshoot to that, would be the bus driver and the municipal agent. So those are currently budgeted and staffed, so we will keep those as they are. One of the things that I would like to recommend also is the opening of the community center Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. if possible. This structure would be 3 full-time employees, 3 part-time employees, 1 stipend employee. The projected cost would be $225,760, which would be about $12,000 more than the current structure. I do feel the $12,000 is money well spent. It will provide us better overlap on the departments. Will promote better working between the 2 departments, better overall coverage, more importantly, better management of that building in general. So this is what I had presented to you, as I said, a few weeks ago. I've made a few minor tweaks. I want to make sure that everyone is on board and still in agreement that this is the direction we'd like to go.
I have a question.
Okay.
So these are all union employees still,
Yes.
correct?
The municipal agent and the bus
Right,
driver
yeah,
are
they're
not
not.
municipal.
But
are not
everything
union
else, so we
employees.
can't budge with their salaries.
No.
Right.
The assistant recreation director just entered the union about 4 or 5 months ago through their own decision. So, I don't think there'll be too much pushback from the union with this, because again, the unions will have the same number of employees. Salary will stay basically the same. The director of community service, will have an increase in salary compared to the recreation director. However, they'll be taking on a tremendous amount of responsibility compared to what the recreation director had.
So Kurt, how does this relate to the rec board and what would be their interaction and interplay in this proposed structure?
If you go to, in the job descriptions, if you go to the recreation program manager, and if you look under there, on page 1, their essential duties and responsibilities, if you look about 2/3 of the way down, they will still work with the Recreation Commission. Recreation Commission by charter is deemed with philosophy and program direction. They still will be able to provide that and work with the recreation program director on that. The Director of Community Services will be the direct supervisor of this person. They will handle more of the long-term strategic planning, the budget and things.
Okay.
These positions are going to be more program-oriented. So we want, to use a sports metaphor. The Director of Community Services is going to be the athletic director, and the program directors are going to be more your head coaches. They're going to be responsible for working with the kids, working with the residents, making sure programs are running efficiently, effectively, working to bring in outside assistance on programs, evaluate programs, bring new programs in, and so on and so forth. My hope, and I had a conversation with members of the Recreation Commission, is that they take a more proactive role. I know they've been stifled a little bit over the last couple of years, and hopefully that will not be the case going forward.
And the Director of Community Services will have to answer to the rec board.
No. The
No.
Director of Community Services will answer directly to Tony and myself.
Okay. So what say will the board have?
Well, they'd be at input only, correct?
For what?
They'd be giving input.
They'd be giving input, probably
They wouldn't have
direction,
authority over
philosophy.
Anything?
They don't have hire and fire authority.
I don't
no.
think they
Not
would.
hire and fire, but just to recommend what the director should be doing.
Yes, they have the ability to do
Yeah,
that.
recommendations
Right.
only. They have no real, they don't have any authority under the
Right.
charter right now anyway, right? Correct?
No, they do to set philosophy, to dictate programming, they do.
They do.
Yes.
And
So
that's
Mike-
never been complied with by the previous
No.
director then?
So that's my point. If they're dictating policy and saying, we want you to do A, B, and C, and our new director is not doing A, B, and C, then they go to Tony and.
Correct.
So they're not technically just an advisory board.
No.
Well, they are advisory. They don't have hire and fire power.
Right, but they can dictate program.
Right.
And That's not just, hey, let's run a bitty basketball program 2 nights a week. That's, we want to run X, Y, Z.
Correct.
Mr. Director, let's make it happen.
So we need to
Correct.
make sure it's run properly this time around.
Correct.
So,
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
The Director of Community Services is gonna be more the business end of it, making sure the budget is done, maintaining the building, the big picture stuff. As I said, the program manager will run the actual programs. Will the Director of Community Services be at the Recreation Commission meeting, at the Commission of Elderly Services meetings? Absolutely. They will be.
So the only position now, I'm sorry, I cut you off, that's not filled is the Director of Community Services.
Correct. That would be that's a
It's a
brand new position.
Okay.
yeah.
So in this model, we have 2 current employees.
Mhm.
One is filling the role of the Assistant Recreation Director. The other is filling the Elderly Services Director. We would need to post for 3 of these positions: the Director of Community Services, the Recreation Program Manager, and the Community Services Assistant. The Elderly Services Manager we would not post for, because we currently have an employee in that position.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you, looking at the recreation program manager, do you feel those number of hours is enough for what needs to be done?
Exceptional question, Paul. Thank you for putting it on my tape. I don't think so, no. But I don't
I
want
don't
to
either,
add,
that's why, you know,
I don't want to
having
add
seen what happened.
staffing yet
Yep.
until we've had an opportunity to put this model in place.
So it'll be a wait and see on
Wait and
that
see.
Right.
position.
Because what I do envision is where this part-time position would be a 9 to 2, we bring in another part-time position that might be a 5 to 10
Mhm.
type position, so we can have the community center open extended hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't want to lock us in to a position or to a set time frame until we have a true understanding of.
I mean,
of
in,
where.
you know, all fairness, I mean, it's not just running the community center, the recreation programs there, I mean, all the other ancillary stuff that. you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
The summer programs and all this other stuff that, you know,
But we also have to see how this new director delegates to all of these.
Yeah.
And it may,
Yeah, I agree.
they, maybe,
Now, now, the other thing too is this Director of Community Services is gonna be more than just what's currently in the community center now. So this is gonna be the hub for volunteer stuff in Seymour. This is gonna be, you know, the,
Like for
I
young
was gonna
kids
say
to
the walk mile,
volunteer.
but the Pink Promenade as an example. The Director of Community Services is the person that should be setting that stuff up. When Seymour Pink wants to set up a road race, they'll be working with the Director of Community Service who will help organize all that. When Traditions wants to do their events, when Founder's Day wants to run their event, this is the person that's going to help run all that. They're gonna have access to volunteers and an understanding of all this process. So again, everything is coordinated together, from recreation to elderly services, to volunteerism, to all community activities in general.
And you said that's a position that's going to be posted?
Yes. Yes. Now, there is a job description that was attached,
the top one.
and you can see some of the things that we are hoping, I should say hoping, well, I will say hoping that you guys approve. Their essential duties and responsibilities on page 1. So it develops, implements policies, procedures, and standards for efficient, effective operation and maintenance of the Community Services Department operation, provides leadership and direction, and assists in the preparation for intermediate and long-range plans to meet the community's need for adequate recreational opportunities, health and wellness, community outreach, and volunteer opportunities, trains, motivates, and evaluates assigned staff, reviews programs, and directs changes as needed, oversees the scheduling of the gymnasium, classroom space, and other building facilities at the Seymour Community Center through the First Selectman's office, prepares annual budget requests to the First Selectman and the Board of Finance, assures that assigned areas of responsibility are performed within budget, performs cost control activities, monitors revenue and expenditures in assigned areas to assure sound fiscal control, assures effective and efficient use of budgeted funds, personnel, materials, facilities, and time, responds to community inquiries and communicates with the community at large, maintains contact with school, social, industrial, and civic groups to best understand the needs of the community at large, coordinates town recreational, health, wellness, community outreach, and volunteer and charity activities with other departments, agencies, and civic groups, in addition to the essential duties and responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. And again, you could see, which would be page 2, reports directly to the Director of Operations. It works under the general supervision of the First Selectman. Their qualifications and skills, you can see that. Under experience and training, at least a bachelor's degree in public administration, business management, recreation, health services, or other related field. Master's degree preferred. Previous experience in a community-oriented supervisory position required. And then obviously the ability to work evenings and weekends is needed for recreational activities, et cetera.
So just to put in my 2 cents, I think there's a lot of confusion on that current rec board as to what their charge is, what their powers are. I think when this is set up, you're really gonna have to make an effort to cross-pollinate that communication between the Director of Community Services, the rec program manager, the elderly services manager, and the rec board, and what their charges are and what needs to happen, and make sure that foundation is laid from jump, like I
Mhm.
think what everybody has been saying here tonight,
Mhm.
because we all won't be in these positions forever, but you wanna make sure this is lasting if we make this change, and it's done more efficiently and complies with charter than in the past. And I think even the rec board meetings might have to get tightened up from what I've heard from folks on that board. I mean, granted, they're appointed, but they're still kind of volunteers too.
Mhm.
So people may not have the skill set to run a meeting the way it needs to, or just not have the knowledge, or have the time, or whatever it may be. Everything needs to be tightened up, I think, for this to work. And that's my only concern. And I think you really need to communicate that, which I'm sure you know.
Right.
I'm just putting my 2 cents in.
No, I met with both the chairman and the vice chairman to go over this with them to make sure that they were comfortable. I mean, obviously, initially, the biggest impact on this is going to be on the Recreation Commission, on the recreation side, because we'll be making changes to those with the retirement in that position. So I want to make sure that they were comfortable. If this board is comfortable with this, if this board wants to move forward, again, Warren and I will work with the unions to make sure that they are comfortable with this, and as I said, I believe they are. I will go to the Recreation Commission at that point, introduce all this to them, ask for any feedback that they may have, and then we'll go forward from there. So I will make it very clear what the expectations are
Great.
to them.
And just one last point, I think with the hiring process for this Director of Community Services, you're asking for a very dynamic individual with this job description.
Mhm.
This is not an average Joe job description.
No.
You need somebody who's really organized, dynamic, forward-thinking, familiar with tech, able to connect with people, have a good personality. If you think they're gonna be the link to all these other events happening in the community, you need almost like an event planner background. So be very careful with who you hire here.
Oh, no.
That's a key
And I
spot.
looked at this too, Al, and I'm wondering, is the salary, you
Commensurate with the
know,
duties.
you know, good with the duties that
Yeah.
you're asking for this person? I know that's kind of a tough thing to do, and you're trying to stay within a budget, but you're asking a lot, and somebody with probably a master's degree and all this other stuff, and I don't know if that salary's gonna appeal to somebody.
It's comparable within the constraints of our current system of salary.
I understand that part of it. I know that
No, I do
well.
agree,
Yeah.
and, you know, if
You know,
don't
Kurt,
get-
we
maybe you
need
should
to
go
step up
with
and increase
the
that.
OPI, I mean,
recommend taking
yeah.
a master's.
What do you call it there, Dave?
CCM?
Yeah, them, and find out, I mean, because they can give you the comparisons from other towns.
We
with the
have
same
those.
duties.
Master's
You have that,
degree. Why do you
okay.
need a master's?
You know, this is where we'll start, we'll see kind of
Oh,
what we
that's a
get.
good point,
and
though.
You'll
If
take
that
out a
person's a
lot of people.
superstar, they're not gonna last in that position if they see that they're killing themselves.
Right.
And maybe it needs to be bumped up 20 grand or something, I don't know.
Or I would also recommend
Why don't
taking
we
a
wait?
master's degree out.
Let's do a wait and see.
Wait and see.
Well, I think you have to do wait and see, Karen. If that
Are
person's
you
a-
seeing what's going on here? The Republicans are trying to give people less money, and the Democrats are trying to give people more money. It's like a role reversal up here. The
I think, but I.
or no, wait, that is the right.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
the other way.
Oh no, it is right.
We're right.
No,
We're trying
the
to
one
get
thing
them-
we see though is municipal employees are not paid as well as perhaps they would be in the private sector.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
And, you know, where one can make the argument that our assessor and our tax collector and our town clerk could be paid more,
Mhm,
there seems to be a lot of longevity
mhm.
here, so. I agree with you. I mean, there is always that concern.
Just be careful with it, 'cause if you get
Oh,
somebody
no, I
who's really
don't-
good, you
I don't
might consider
disagree.
giving them a little bump.
Well, a little bump, but again, the person who runs the whole shooting match, which is Tony, only makes about $7,000 more than this person, so
I
that's the
would-
other thing you gotta be
Yeah,
careful of.
that's
Right,
right. I
right.
understand, yeah, I understand that
You know,
well.
that's-
Right,
Believe me.
right.
That's
I
the
would
tough
recommend taking out the requirement of a master's degree in that job description. I just don't think it's necessary, especially at that I mean, I think the
Well, it says
undergrad, the
preferred.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it says preferred.
Yeah, it says at least a bachelor's,
master's degree
master's
preferred.
degree preferred, but you could
Well-
always,
I can't imagine getting someone with a master's degree in this position, that's all I'm saying.
For that money.
Or for, second part, yep, or for that money.
See, I put it in the context of the teacher's contract where you've got steps, you know, and I'm not saying we ought to have a contract with steps because, you know, that, again, that goes to longevity and, you know, proper job evaluation and, you know, passing all kinds of stuff in the school system. But I don't think that's a lot of money.
This union does not have salary steps like the clerk's union does. This is a flat dollar amount that gets an
Right,
increase once a year.
right.
So, I mean, you know, we'll put it out there and we'll see.
Sure.
Well, we get, I mean, the one, I don't know what's going the wrong way, the one advantage is in the current job market, you'd be surprised at who's applying for
Oh, I,
for
Like
what.
it's
But to
qualified
that
folks,
point,
right.
how long will they stay and
Right.
and so.
It'd be a
Because
stepping
if-
stone
If
possibly.
we can get a rock star in here for 2 years to build this thing and get it established and get it going and have the culture set and they move
That'll
on,
go a long way.
that would be where, again, I'd be okay with that.
Warren, what have you seen in other towns with a similar, job? Is that about right for salary and? do
I
you use-
haven't done that comparison.
Okay. I'm just curious if you have to talk to her.
I mean, let's not go too much higher because I'll be making more than me.
It's not the-
Well, the first selectmen's salary needs
No,
to
I'm
be
only
increased.
kidding.
That has been
Yes.
going in 15, 20 years.
Right, we
either.
need to increase that
no,
as
wait a
well.
minute.
That
We,
needs to get.
Time out.
we didn't quite, wait, it was
I-
Bob Koskolowski.
I'd have an ally 2 seats over to me. I don't want
And not only that, the first selectman only works 4 days a week.
to. You want to take that one, or you want to take that one, or shall I?
Wow.
Wow.
I'm looking the other
Well,
way.
you know, officially, town hall's open 4 days a week.
Right.
Bingo.
But you're
Fri-
having ribbon cutting and
Friday's
groundbreaking.
my favorite day because he'll tell you you get more done on a Friday when no one's
You
here.
get in here at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock on Friday, and nobody bothering.
You
It's
put
a
in 4 or
wonderful
5
thing.
hours, it's like a
It's a
whole week.
wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why my husband works on Sundays.
Well, it's because he's billing some
He's in private practice too.
$700
He's
an hour,
my life.
whatever.
You-
Your
Private
husband
practice.
charges.
You bet your life he's in private practice.
So, but I
Different
mean,
world.
overall, is everybody comfortable with the structure and the
Yes.
philosophy
Yeah.
and the direction? I mean, obviously, we're gonna probably need to tweak this a little bit more, but
Sure.
is everybody comfortable with me taking the next step with Warren going to the union, reaching out to the Recreation Commission to make sure they're comfortable with their kind of piece of this, and assuming that all being, putting this out to see what type of applicants we get?
Yes.
Now, the normal process for interviewing is we have been creating an interview committee who has been going through all of the applications, weeding it down, doing the final interviews with Michelle assisting them, and generally making 1 or 2 recommendations to me, which I in turn bring onto you guys. Is that still an okay system for this position, or would you guys want to be more hands-on?
I think we should be hands-on.
Well,
For which one?
Just-
For the head one?
For the head.
for the head one.
I kind of disagree, because I don't think we are the experts in this field. I think,
I'd at least like to see a resume.
But maybe
Oh,
bringing.
no, we'll still get you the packets.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
No,
We'll
but
still get
maybe
you the
bringing
packets.
people into the mix, like,
oh,
to,
no, some of us got to be involved, there's no doubt about it, but I just.
But no,
think
in the
we
past,
are-
in all the positions that we've hired over the last 2 years, that hasn't
Yeah.
been the case.
Right.
I mean, we hire the person.
Right.
That's our responsibility, but, you know, we, as an example, for public works positions, you know, we get 100, 150 application and resumes. They narrow that down, they weed it back.
Full-time job.
They send that to
She
us
narrows it
with,
down.
you know, the tax clerk and finance positions. Do we want to have either one of us as a part of those initial interviews and sitting through and doing those? Or do we want to say to them, instead of just sending us 1, send us 3? And then this
Oh, I-
board
What-
does
what-
that, which would you prefer?
I
What would
think
be-
that's a good idea.
What would be the harm of Board of Selectmen member being part of like the second to last interview? Or the final interview?
Well, I would say the whole board. The whole board would interview 3 people, unless you have a concern with that.
No, I mean, I think the real question is, how many sort of final candidates you want to be involved in the interview?
Right.
That's what it really
Right.
is.
I don't think we need any more than 3.
Three.
Right.
Three.
I mean, we could do an
Or-
interview
or
with 3.
two.
But again,
we can
I
have
just
Michelle
remember what it
narrow
was
down
like,
to
this
a
board
group, and we can
hiring,
look at all those,
hiring
right?
Michelle our HR director and also hiring our blight officer, it wasn't the most efficient process
No.
Right.
we had going.
It
and-
wasn't.
and-
It's
and
hard.
that's-
I know.
I found it's much easier letting, and to, I forget whether it was Nicole or Paul said it, kind of letting the people know what's going on, do those interviews. And maybe you have 2 or 3 members of the Recreation Board, 2 or 3 members of the Commission of the Aging, as a part of who's going to do the interviewing with Michelle, with Tony, with.
I mean, I'm confident members of this board can do the interviewing, but I don't think it's our duty per se. I mean,
No, well, that's why I want to
employees
know
do it.
your, and
They
you also,
get paid to do it.
we don't need an answer on that tonight. So why does everybody think about where their comfort would be?
Okay.
And then just let me know, because we'll meet again before we even get to that point.
Right.
But,
Okay.
is that good?
Yeah.
So, okay, so if everybody's good, we'll continue moving on?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So why don't we have some work to do tomorrow? I'll give you something.
Can you see the excitement on his face?
Look at him.
He looks thrilled.
Sending you into his seat.
I'm just gonna look like a professional trial, but,
He'll carve out a solid 10 minutes.
He'll give me 2 or 3 6-minute increments right away.
That's more than I would have given him when I was prepping for trial. Stay away. Go lock the door.
Item number 10, discussion with Strategic Planning Committee. They are not here today. They did take the feedback that we provided during their presentation. They've made some updates, which they are finalizing. I saw some of them from the chairwoman. I expect to have those to us at our next meeting, I would think, but they did take some of our comments and concerns, so we'll be seeing those shortly. Okay, item number 12, executive session, where we will discuss the administrator's contract. So at this point, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session at 7:50 PM and to invite Town Council Warren Holcomb into join us.
So
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, second by Al. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0. Marcus in executive session at 7:50 PM.